So welcome back to 10 Minute Takes. My name is Hannah Gallacher and I'm here today with Jess O'Keefe, who is the Senior Clinical Lecturer for the BSc Professional Pathway Programme here at the Academy. Hi Jess.
Hello.
Nice to see you today.
How are you?
Thanks for coming. Can you tell me a little bit about your role and just a bit about your background?
I am an intensive care nurse by kind of background, and I've sidestepped into education here at the Academy. So I've worked in Edinburgh for the last kind of 8 years, and I've just relocated back to Newcastle and joined the Academy right at the kind of the beginning of the journey, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Forge your own path.
Yes, absolutely.
So I always start by asking people if there is something about education that they wish that they'd learned earlier in their career, or just a little nugget of wisdom.
One of the things that somebody said to me right at the very beginning of my educational journey, which has stuck with me for a long time, was just remembering that nothing in academia is an emergency. And I guess that was really important for me from intensive care, where there's lots of emergencies going on, and just kind of appreciating that things take a kind of different pathway and a different priority here in a kind of educational setting.
Yeah, of course. I suppose you're so used to being go, 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 but in this it's kind of taken a step. But you're balancing a bit of clinical practice and academic work, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm still maintaining my clinical skills, so based here in Northumbria Healthcare Trust in intensive care, and doing critical care as well as education here.
Brilliant. So is that something that's particularly important to you?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important for me, because I think there's something really important about if you're within clinical education, and my job title is Senior Clinical Lecturer, I think to maintain your clinical skills and your integrity is really important if you're then delivering education to your fellow healthcare professionals.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's one of the main kind of values and ethos that we have here at the Academy, that we are clinically relevant educators as well. So thank you for that. That's a great little nugget of wisdom to share with the other programme leads as well, maybe. So this particular programme, the BSc Professional Pathway, what does that mean, and how have we approached that to meet the educational needs of the NMAP workforce?
So the BSc kind of the programme is delivered here at the Academy, and that's really exciting because the students we're going to have on board are all employees of the Trust, so having a base here that is accessible for all our workforce is really, really important. The idea behind the pathway is that our colleagues who are previously diploma educated want to, or have a desire to top up their previous educational qualification to a degree, be it for their own professional learning or for development within their kind of professional role or career progression.
Brilliant.
And we've developed a kind of pioneering programme here that allows them to pick modules that are both relevant to their clinical practice, but also relevant to the kind of, or align with the Trust kind of values and ethos around leadership and development and quality improvement, and bringing all of those things together so that we can support our workforce. And we've got a really mixed cohort here of nurses, midwives, ODPs who are coming on board of our programme, and that really kind of reflects the diverse workforce we've got out there.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a pick and mix, am I right in thinking?
So it's kind of so there are a few core modules that we need to deliver as part of the programme around leadership and quality improvement, but within that scope, there's also space for people to choose modules from the University of Sunderland catalogue that are available to them, and they're often modules that are more relevant or more kind of interesting to them from a clinical point of view, so they might pick something based on the area that they work in, so they can really bring together that clinical side and that academic side and come out with their BSc qualification.
So it balances that clinical and academic?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Brilliant. And how do you think you've approached this as a nurse with your clinical head on as well as an academic?
So I think what I've really tried to bring into the kind of development of this programme is I myself have got experience. I studied full-time my master's whilst I was working kind of full-time clinically in intensive care. So, I mean, I wonder kind of how I actually did that when I reflect back on it. But actually, I have a real kind of understanding of what is needed when you're working full-time and studying full-time, and that support, those kind of learning tools that you need, and the kind of the support that needs to be around you to enable that study to be successful and purposeful and meaningful. So So I've brought that kind of contemporary understanding from my own experience into the delivery of the programme, and I've linked in with the resources here in the Academy, with the pastoral support and the library support, to really have a rounded programme for our students coming on board in September. Brilliant. So that they can have access to all these incredible facilities to hopefully enable a kind of successful return to academic study for our colleagues.
Brilliant. And what about those people who haven't studied in a while? I know that's been a bit of a focus of our planning of how we'll deliver this programme, is to support people who maybe haven't studied in a while and are a little bit intimidated by academic study and essay writing and all the things that go along with that. How have you planned for that?
So I think I guess planning is the key thing in that question, and that the whole programme is designed with our workforce in mind. So the programme is flexible. If you're enrolling on the programme for the whole 120 credits, we're looking at an 18-month programme, but within that we've got space to kind of allow our students to be able to work full-time whilst coming to the Academy for the face-to-face sessions. We'll also utilise our kind of online technology to allow people to catch up if the kind of the flexibility is there for them to catch up and respond back to things, not necessarily in real time if that doesn't fit their shift pattern or their working commitments. And I also think another thing that's really important within the kind of flexibility side of it is that the programme, so if you're enrolling on the whole 120 credits in an 18-month programme, but there is options with our partners at university to consider evidencing of previous learning, and if that can be kind of met by the university standards, then what that means is that, say if you've obtained 20 credits from the University of Sunderland in a different module, you can bring that to your to the BSc pathway, and therefore that's 20 credits that are already existing. We can pool those in together, and that will shorten the length of the course that you need to do.
Yeah. Excellent, thank you. So can you tell me a little bit about the work you're doing with the Prescribing for Healthcare Professionals team to allow people to do what's called bridging?
Yeah, absolutely. So our colleagues who are working on the prescribing programme, both based here at the Academy as well, they sometimes have students who are suitable to apply for that programme, but the thing that's kind of holding them back from where they are right now is that they've not engaged in any academic study in the last 5 years, and that's the kind of requirement for the programme. So what we can do here at the Academy is some of the modules that we deliver as part of our BSc programme in professional practice, we can offer an enrolment on just a single module for those potential students who are looking at prescribing for healthcare professionals, but they need to demonstrate their academic study, and we've got a really close relationship with the other kind of academic programme lead within that. So we can signpost our students really easily to one another's programmes. So the idea would be if somebody was thinking about starting prescribing, say, in 9 months' time, but they need to demonstrate that academic study beforehand, they could come on, do a standalone module, perhaps a kind of academic recognition of continuous professional development, a module like that. They could enrol on that, go through the module, that would get them up to speed with all those kind of academic writing, referencing, those kind of things. And then once they've successfully completed that, they can then step on to the prescribing course. And that's a really kind of seamless transition, and we've brought that all in-house, and we hope that that's going to be a really kind of beneficial step for our students.
Great, and we'll put the information about how that's possible in the links alongside with this podcast in case people are interested. And you as an educator obviously as well are so engaged in people with those kind of conversations about what's possible for them as well, and having those individual chats with people where they're not 100% sure what they're doing, and we can kind of give that advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. I think the whole ethos of the Academy here is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's actually having these individual conversations with our learners and kind of guiding them around the pathways that may be best suitable, but having those conversations and kind of appreciating that we are a kind of inclusive space, that people can come and have these conversations, and we can help kind of coach them in the right way that we feel would suit their kind of career goals best.
Brilliant, thank you. And just to finish off, my favourite question, what is your most favourite thing to teach?
So favourite thing to teach, I think, is definitely if I can get myself on any simulation technology. Absolutely love that. So any kind of your resuscitation, deteriorating patient, ABCDE assessment, in there with the kind of immersive technology that we have, and taking students through from a kind of not quite understanding the concept perhaps to then finishing the session and really, really understanding and appreciating the importance of that systematic assessment.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for coming.